Hey everyone, so we're still working on our casual glam look, and so far we've put on some concealers and some tinted moisturizer to kind of prep the face to be ready to go. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some light contouring. I would call this everyday contouring. Look, we're not all gonna be the Kardashians. We don't all need to go crazy with the contouring every day, and we're not all gonna bake. Some people might, me, that seems intimidating and I don't have that much time in the morning. So I like to do a little bit of contouring to just add some definition to my face in places where I want it. For instance, I really like my cheeks, but sometimes when I put on tinted moisturizer and stuff, it evens everything out, so it's harder to see the definition. Also, let's be honest, sometimes at the holidays, we're eating a little bit more than we were before, and maybe we lose a little bit of the definition. So I like to put a little bit of contour here, and then on my nose, just to kind of draw attention to the center of the nose. I actually don't mind my nose, I'm not self-conscious about it, but I do like how it looks when it's a little bit contoured. Those are the places that I do. You can watch videos on different ways to contour and for different face shapes. For me, this is about as much contouring as I can handle on a day-to-day basis, but then also where I feel like it looks natural on me and brings out the things I want to bring. And I want to draw people kind of to this part of my face. I feel like my eyes are my best asset, and I feel like the way that I contour kind of brings that definition. Also, I have a lot of cheekbone structure. So what I'm gonna do is put a little bit of contouring here, and then instead of just going straight down, because I've got these kind of rounder cheeks, I'm gonna curve up at this part so that it highlights that. You can use a lot of things for contouring. I really like our concealers, our darker concealers for contouring. I will say that when I use those, because of my skin color, I have to do them under my tinted moisturizer. So that's just one thing to know. And you can kind of play around and see what works for you. But what I like to use the most is our ShadowSense in Mocha Java. For me, this is the perfect contouring color for this part of my face. I have used the medium concealer, but like I said, that's something I then do under my tinted moisturizer. Otherwise, it doesn't blend quite as well. So I always start with my nose, and what I do is do some lines right here to just kind of narrow it a little bit. Like I said, I'm not self-conscious about it, but I can highlight it in a different way. So I just kind of start up here and draw a little line down. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm gonna blend it. And then another one. And I like to kind of do a little triangle at the bottom. And you can also see I colored a little outside of the lines here, and the great thing is you can use your finger to kind of clean that up. And then I usually do just a little bit right here. And this all just comes from kind of playing with it to see what works for me. And this is the method that I've come up with. So now I'm gonna just take this brush and kind of blend it down. And it creates an illusion of a shadow where there isn't necessarily one. Kind of not changes the shape of your nose, but defines it a little bit differently. And we're gonna go in later and do some highlighting there. So when we're doing shadows, we're also doing highlights, kind of like how the real world is. There are places that the sun hits and provides a little bit of light, and there are places where you get a little bit of a shadow. All right, so right now that's a little bit more noticeable than it's gonna be as we go along. And then I always just kind of go in and see, like, was I even, or are there places I need to touch up? Is there a place where I made it a little bit more narrow so I can see right here, it's not entirely even. There we go. I'll just blend that. You can also use a sponge for this. I find I like brushes better than sponges for how oops, that's the back of it, for how I do my makeup. All right, I personally add my highlight on top of my powder because of how I do my highlighting. So don't be surprised, and you can do it either way. I also like it to sparkle just a little bit more than it's under. All right, so then I just go, I call this like the divot, my little divot under my cheek, and I put on some of the shadow. And then I'm gonna go back in with that contouring brush, and again, I'm gonna kind of curve up. So I'm gonna start here and then go up at the end. and then just kind of blend it out. Now I will say this tends to be the more noticeable of where I contour, but again, as I put on blush and stuff, that's gonna change. So it's all gonna blend together. So don't worry if as you're doing this, you're like, oh, this looks super fake. It'll blend. And then you can always use less, or you could mix this in with your tinted moisturizer or your foundation so that you get a more natural look. And then again, I like to just go in and kind of blend with my fingers. I don't like to totally apply my makeup with my fingers, but I do find that it really helps to kind of blend some of this out. All right, so that's all the contouring I do in terms of the dark color. Again, I said we'll highlight later. So then what I'll do is I go in with my powder. Now, this is what our powder, this is natural translucent powder. This is what it looks like this. That's my sticker. It looks like this when it comes. This brush is good. I like my brushes better. So this I throw in my purse in case I need to touch up during the day if I'm getting a little shiny or I was sweaty or something. And it's good for that, but I like to use my own brush for it when I'm putting it on to begin with. So I've just got a cheap little thing off of Amazon, a little powder sifter thing, and that's what I put mine into, and that works better for me. So just take it on my brush, and again, just kind of blend it all in. And again, I think you'll find that it starts to lessen. Some of where I did some contouring will become a little less obvious as we put this on, but it'll be there as kind of an illusion, and people won't even know they're seeing it. I think that was chocolate ice cream. True story. I went and exercised today and had some chocolate ice cream. That's just how I work. A little bit more. Make sure I get under the eyes here and down. What I like about this powder is that it works on such a variety of skin tones. So I have African American friends who wear it. I have Hispanic friends who've worn it. I'm obviously very pale, and we can all wear it because it's a translucent powder. It's really just to mattify and kind of blend. So there's that. So now the next step for me is to go in with my blush. And I really like to mix blushes to get the exact color I want. So Toasted Rose is an amazing color. That's probably my day-to-day color, and I wear it mixed with a little bit of Pearlizer. For this look, I want to soften it just a little bit because I'm going to go bold lip. So I'm going to mix it with Pouty Pink. So Pouty Pink and Toasted Rose mixed together with a little bit of Pearlizer, because Pearlizer is our highlighter. So it does not take much of the blushes to get the color that you want. So you're just gonna put a little dot here. Now, some people mix this together beforehand. That's definitely one way to do it. For me, I like to just mix it on my cheek. It's probably not the right way, but it's the way that I do it, and it works for me. So I'm gonna keep doing it that way. So I've got 2 little dots of the 2 different colors of blush, and then I'm gonna come in with like a 1/4 pump of the Pearlizer. So there we go. And then again, I just kind of tap on, hair in my way, and then blend, staying above that line where I did some contouring, but kind of hitting it a little bit so that it blends together. I just love this color. It's kind of a soft blush look. I discovered this the other day, and now I feel like it might become my everyday because it's just so good. It's just like a little hint of pink, a little hint of brown. So good. And like, look how it highlights right here because of that Pearlizer. Pearlizer is amazing. So I'm gonna do a little bit of highlighting right here, and then a little bit right under here as well, with some white concealer. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of highlighting in this Cupid's bow area because it really kind of opens it up. Now typically, I'll admit, because I'm talking to you all, I did this a little bit out of order. So usually the white concealer I put on under all of this other stuff, and I am out of order, but I still want that highlight. So I'm gonna do just a little bit less, and I'm gonna do it under here. And again, it's your makeup. There's no perfect way to do it, so just make it work for you. So I'm just gonna tap that in kind of a triangle under my eye. I really like how this white highlighter brightens it up under your eyes. Because I think, like I said, you gotta know what your best feature is or what you wanna highlight, and I almost always wanna highlight my eyes, even when I'm doing a bold lip. So see how that brightens it up a little bit under there. And now I'm gonna go back in with my powder brush, which still has a little bit of powder on it, and just kinda tap that in so that it blends a little bit. There we go. And maybe take a little bit of powder here. There we go. All right, so there we go, white highlighter. And then the other thing I'm gonna do is take my blush brush and just kind of catch places where I went over my blush. Can't even tell I did it out of order. Okay, so now we're gonna go with Pearlizer as highlighter. And where I'm gonna do this is the center of my nose here, Cupid's bow, and then whatever's left on the brush, I'll kind of do some other areas where the light might naturally hit. I always start with the center of my nose though, because I've already done some darkening and I just want to kind of highlight. I like to make sure I really get the tip of my nose. I like how that looks. It's kind of cute. And then just blend it in. And you can see why I didn't want to do this under the powder, because there's some shimmer to it and it would lose that if it was under the powder. So I like the shimmer, and just kind of blend it so that it doesn't look like a total line there. See how that totally changes where your focus is? And it thins out the nose a little bit. Love it. And then I'm gonna go right in here. I didn't start doing this until recently, and I really feel like it's a game changer to highlight your Cupid's bow. Just looks fresh. And then I like to do a little bit right over the blush, again, to kind of draw attention to the eye area. And then whatever's kind of left over, just some other areas the light would hit. All right, so that's contouring and highlighting. The next stuff I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start up on my eyes. So watch the next video to find out how I get a semi-glam eye look. I'll see you soon.